Welcome to Shojo and Tell, where we discuss shoujo manga and tell who's hot and who's not, talk about themes, and just generally geek out. Today, June 1st, 2022, we'll be shoujo and telling about the series Lovecom, or Lovely Complex, by Aya Nakahara. I'm your host, Ashley McDonald, and I'm joined by Loyola Rankin. Hello, Loyola.
Hi, Ashley. Hi, listeners. I believe this is my third time back, and I'm happy to be back. As always, love geeking out with y'all. Definitely excited. This one's a good one.
This one's a good one. The other two weren't.
The other two, listen to those other episodes. I had notes.
Oh my gosh. Well, for the people who haven't listened to those two episodes, which I believe were Merupuri and the
short series, and then we also did Girl Got Game.
Oh yeah. No, I think you were on another time too for I'm blanking. Whatever. But definitely I forgot about Girl Got Game. Except for the part where in this series, because Otani plays basketball, I was like, do you just like the series with basketball? Why are you not reading Ring for Spring? Anyway, who are you, Loyola?
Oh, yes. Long-time listener to the podcast, long-time friends of Ashley's, long-time enjoyer of shoujo manga. And yeah, just definitely have been really reliving this time. Like, it's definitely been great to reread the series. I watched the anime, saw the movie just to prepare for this, and I think I'm ready if I don't get my versions mixed up.
Yeah, Loyola's been like rereading it in front of me, and I'm like, yo, I only read it once and you've read it like 50 million times, so that's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's you can't just read one section of this series. You have to like really like get in your feels, and we'll talk about that more later, but yeah, for sure this one's close to my heart. Definitely significantly more basketball in it than Girl Got Game, which is pretty funny. Go listen to our episode Girl Got Game. That was pretty remarkable. It's one of my favorite episodes I'm on it, so I guess that
wow, biased.
Yeah, very biased, but yeah, it's one of my favorite episodes. I think we really geek out on it so much.
Okay, well, this first section is going to try to be as spoiler-free as possible about Lovecom. This is also an episode that's... Oh, I forgot to put the volume numbers in the intro like a dummy. This is only going to be for volumes 1 through 8. So, it's only about the first half of a series. So, if you don't consider that a spoiler, like, cool. But for now, we're just going to keep it really, really intro level on the series.
Hey everybody, this is Editor Ashley jumping in from the future of the past to say that this beginning section really didn't end up being very spoiler-free, so proceed with caution, because spoilers abound. I apologize.
And as I alluded to before, I have not actually read this series before, to my great shame and horror, nor have I watched the anime. But Loyola has consumed those things enough for both of us 5 times over, so it's okay. So Loyola is going to give the plot synopsis.
Yeah, if I could just jump in real quick. On my first introduction to this series, I saw it at a Walden Books in Gallup, New Mexico. Walden is old school Borders.
And now RIP Borders.
RIP Borders.
RIP bookstores.
Support your local independent bookstores, everybody. Order manga there. But yeah, I saw this series on the shelves and purposefully avoided them because I did not like the cover. I thought the characters looked too orange on the cover, and I was like, this is just so grating to my eyes. I'm above this. I don't like the cover. Yeah.
What is this space on volume 7? That's all I ever keep thinking about. I'm like, what is Otani doing? Anyway, that's
When you look at volume like 1, 2, and 3, I believe, I was like, what? Who did the coloring on this? This is intense. Yeah.
It is very orange. You are correct.
Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to skip it. And then who would have known, like maybe 7 years later, came across it again and just absolutely fell in love with all the characters, with the series. But yes, let me not get too digressed on it. But
Oh my gosh, sell it to the people who haven't like read it before.
oh, please read it. Please, you will not be disappointed. I do not think. It has a little something for everybody. Definitely heartbreak, triumphant moments. We'll get through those both in here in part 1 and part 2 when we cover it. But little synopsis of the story. So Risa and Otani are classmates. They have just entered high school. And she is the tallest in her grade, tallest girl in her grade. And Otani is the shortest boy in the grade. And it has been like that, I believe, throughout their entire life. She has just been the tallest girl throughout her entire education. Otani has been the shortest boy throughout his entire education. And so that has left them with a little bit of a complex regarding their height. And so through really cute, really sweet moments, Risa falls in love with Otani and pursues him throughout the series. And I think that's the deepest I can go without spoiling it. But yeah, definitely one of the cutest stories I've come across.
Well, so they are definitely teased for already being a couple before they go out because they have a very slapstick comedy duo dynamic going on.
Yeah.
So that's also like part of the whole series is that their teacher is like, y'all's is dating already, right? So like, why you can be class reps, just do it. You're both really dumb. You fail my class all of the time.
Get the lowest scores in the class consecutively. Have been to like every summer school, every year. Like this is just who you are. You're a couple. Like we ship you already.
Yeah, like everybody in their class ships them, and so they're just like, no, I hate the other one because they're the opposite height of me and that doesn't work.
Or they're like, this big dummy? Like, oh, heck no. Like
they're like, I'm not as dumb as this dummy. Like, that's not how this works.
Oh, yeah. The comedy duo, they refer to them as all Haiju. No,
all Hanshin Kyojin.
Thank you. Yeah, before I watched the series, I just like made it up in my head, like all us readers do. Just like make up the word, and then you're like, oh, that's not how it's pronounced at all. Looking at you, Hermione, I definitely said Hermio 1. I was like, that's not even a name.
You're like, I don't know. I mean, I only know how to, I process it because I do know about the Hanshin Tigers, the baseball team that it's a reference to, and then Attack on Titan is Kyojin is Titan. So
a lot of cultural context for Ashley, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll make it up as I go.
You're like, I don't know. There are syllables in there. So Loyola, what is your favorite aspect of the series in the end? Why should all the people read it throughout all the lands?
I feel y'all should read this simply for what it felt like when you had a crush, particularly on a friend. If y'all out there have been crushing on your friends and you're like, especially in them feels of like, they have to know. They absolutely have to know. And then you're like, oh my God, this person is so dumb. Like, why do I even like them? It really, really does well in that level of like, I should just give up. Like, I shouldn't pursue them. I'm just going to let go. And then
this got dark.
Yeah. And then that revitalized level of like, no, I actually do love them. And I know some criticism for the comic has been like, it's very like flippant. And I'm like, no. There's like in one panel, you can see, I'm thinking of one in particular where it's just like, Otani is well drawn. You definitely see him from her perspective, and she's just like, "Oh, my heart." And I think in that panel, he just said "yo," like he just said hi. He was like "yo," and she was like, "Oh, my heart. Oh, I love this fool."
I'm dead.
I'm dead. I can't do this. Yeah, no, and just the support of their mutual friends, I think is pretty great. And also the series goes on for like their entire time in high school. Like I think it was like a couple of years, spoiler, that she pursues him. And it's definitely one of those young love stories that I really appreciate and can really sympathize with for sure.
Loyola talking about if you've ever been in love with your best friend and they don't know because they're a big dummy. I'm like, that's my whole life. Yes.
I'm like staring at Ashley right now, be like, wink, wink. See what? See?
Wink.
No.
It was painfully relatable. I was like, stop. I don't know if I can handle it. I was like, I'm crying at the end of volume 5. There are 17 volumes. This is not going to go good for me.
The end of volume 5 gets me every single time, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. So now I have to read volume 6 because like that's the thing with the series, right? Exactly. It's like you can't just stop on one plot point. You have to like get to the next one because the emotional connection is so strong. You're like, how is Risa going to get through this? Like, how is she going to process what's going on? And like, it's just really interesting how the author really captures how the mind works in some of these cases too, that I really appreciate as well. It was like, well, I'm just going to give up, like I said earlier. And then she's like, you know what? I'm going to give it another go. Let's see what happens.
I'm just going to get remotivated by something here. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just, I think it's very well done. It's very cute. Very low stakes, which I also enjoy from the media I consume. You know, it's difficult times. And when times get difficult, I read Lovely Complex. The going get tough and Loyola reads Lovely Complex.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the comedic timing in this is quite good. Like whether it's a funny face or just like they've been talking about something serious, they're leading up to something, and then they just drop like some nonsense line, and you're just like, oh my gosh. Like no, and Nobu is Risa's best friend, who's like. She's like very much a girlier girl than Risa. You think that she might be mean just based on looking at her, but then she's like so nice. She's like Risa's biggest cheerleader, and she's like, why? What are you doing? Are you trying? Flaunt your inner boobies. And I'm like, that's my new tagline, first of all.
Flaunt your inner boobies, for sure. No. And I love Nobu because like, you know, she has a boyfriend and they love each other so much. They call each other darling and honey, and he's just like, they're so cute together. You would assume that they've been together, you know, their entire lives. I love their relationship, and it would be so easy for, you know, some aggression to come out or some type of like, oh, you're happy. It was so easy for you to like get into a relationship. I think with Nobu and her boyfriend, they met at like cram school, and they're like, hey, I like you, and he's like, hey, I like you too. We should go out. And then they just, you know, have been dating ever since. And there's a few times when Risa does see that and she's like, lucky ducks. Like, what a miracle. What a joy in life.
There's no animosity in this series, really, yeah.
But she doesn't reflect on that, too, of like, what a joy, right? To have the person you love you back. Like, don't take that for granted. But yeah, Nobu's the best. There are a few key moments, too, in both the anime and the manga where like Otani will say something to Risa when she tries to be cute with him, when she tries to flirt with him. He'll be like, ew, what are you doing? And then Risa will go off on him. And then Nobu will come in with like a flying kick to her back and just like knee her in the back. And I'm like, I need that.
You need that person. You need that wingman.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, you're screwing this up. Stop. This is not how
you get there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but so like all those comedic moments are super great. Like literally anytime Nobu on the page, I'm like laughing. That's great. I also think that, you know, I'm a bit scared about the second more than half of the series that we have to go, because I'm like, aren't we already at the ending?
This is where the series ends, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, no, I'm just like, I understand it's popular. You got to keep it going, but I'm like, all right, I don't know. But so far, in the first 8 volumes, I've been like, you know, you would think this premise would wear out, but I'm like, no, it's like, it's got the right amount of elaboration about every little feeling that they feel to like move that plot along, you know, to make it work. And I'm like, oh, it's so rare. Like usually you either get it all dragged out and you're like, just talk, like just communicate.
Use your words. And then you realize you're like talking to 2-dimensional high school students. Yeah, and you're like, oh yeah. No, I definitely feel like that they're sweet moments, because like Risa doesn't even realize like she likes Otani until like what, volume 2?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, at least.
Like, they definitely were like had different crushes supposedly in the first volume, and then they're like trying to help each other get with those people, and you're just like, you're dating each other though. Like you see how everybody thinks that you are dating, and they're like, I don't get it. Like,
no, we're gonna help each other out. And they even place a wager, right? Like the person who gets a girlfriend or a boyfriend first, the other owes them new basketball shoes for Otani or a new video game for Risa. And so they're like, and then somehow it becomes not a competition, and then they start supporting each other. And
and then like they forget about the competition, and we're like, oh yeah, they were competing. I don't know.
I think that just speaks to like the friendship relationship, getting into that romantic space of like, we say we don't like each other. We're going to argue a lot, but really we're looking out for what's best for each other. And what's best is like getting them to this point of like, don't be worried about your height. And I think that was the big thing in the first volume when they were seeking other partners of like, my height, it's a big problem. It's my complex. And they're like, no, don't. And it's just so beautiful.
It's just so beautiful. Yeah. So quite frankly, I'm going to lay this, I'm going to say it. I believe that this is the rom-com that all rom-coms should like aspire to. Like this is like the level that you need to be at.
You can't see it, but I am doing a little happy
Loyola's
dance.
like dancing over here. Like,
because I agree. I 100% agree. This is how it's done, people. Like, you don't need to copy this like verbatim, but like these beats, these levels of like, okay, we went into like a very crucial moment. My heart is aching. Yeah. How do we bring that back around to like Otani not being the villain, right? Because he like at one point openly rejects her. And that's the beautiful thing. At several points. That's true. I want to say for those other points, I'm like, those were a misunderstanding. But
okay.
I could see how those are rejections. But at one point, the first time
see, those become like use your words.
Right. Those are definitely use your words moments. It's definitely for those other moments. The first one is very special to me when he rejects her, just because I cry every time. But for the other moments, because he doesn't just do it once, y'all, I feel like it's like I overheard and it hurts my feelings that he would say like, I'd never date Risa or I don't care about her. Yeah. And then she just overhears it and then, she starts crying and she runs away. And I'm like, oh, my lady, it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. But for the first one, like I'm not well versed in Shojo manga. I find the ones I like and I stick with them. I think that you could hear that from the other episodes I've been on. Me and Ashley were actually having this conversation too of like a list of Shojo manga that we've read. And I think I picked like 3 on the list that I've actually completed. And of course, Ashley, it was like phenomenal. I was like, oh yeah, I've done most of these. I've read them all. But there's not really one in which I know of where she's actually rejected. Like that.
I also wrote that down, actually. I was like, I can't remember one where, like, there's always the misunderstanding part, right? Where it's like, oh, or like they're pretending that they don't like each other for some reason. Like they're trying to purposefully be mean about it.
Right.
I was like, I can't like really remember a shoujo manga where they were like, no, legit, I don't like you right now. And then they have several conversations about, like, how do you get past that point, that awkward point. And I was like, that's pretty refreshing. Also, how many series have the main character lead girl is taller than the male character lead? Like, it's definitely doing a lot of stuff that is unconventional, but also many tropes, like many story beats that are conventional, but, like, geniusly like master class level executed.
Yeah, absolutely. When the love rivals come in, very well done. And it's just definitely not dismissive, because there are people who confess to Otani and to Risa, and they still can hang around as minor characters, but like it's not dismissive to their feelings. I'm thinking of Sekio-chan particularly. But just to jump back real quick to like the rejection is such a big part that I'm because Otani really is like, let me think about it. And ladies, when he says let me think about it, I mean, general rule of thumb, it's no. Like it's gonna be a no. Like I'm just like, if it's not an immediate yes, I'm like, cool, thank you, bye. I'm gonna cry over here real quick.
I mean, he's open about, he's like, oh, I never thought about that. Like, I don't like go doki doki when I look at you, right? Like, he's just like, that doesn't happen.
I don't go doki doki when I look at
like,
you.
my heart doesn't go doki doki when I look at you.
Exactly. And like, it's just, he does give it a shot. And there are comedic beats where he's like struggling. Like, you can visually see him struggling. Like, he's like scratching his head and he's like, I don't know, like, I'm really struggling with this. And then she's like, let me just take it back. Like, let me just say, just kidding. And that's when Nobu-chan comes in and she's like, no, Risa, let him process. And she's like, I hate this. This is the worst part. This is the worst possible feeling, waiting for a response. And I agree. It really does suck. And then Ashley's right. He just says, I don't think about you in that way. Sorry. And she just breaks down crying, and it's on their school trip, and it's supposed to be like, you know, great things happen on your school trip, and it's so romantic, right? That's one of the story beats in a lot of these shoujo mangas. And something very tragic happens at the beginning of her school trip, and I'm just like, oh girl, oh, I feel for you so much. But yeah, so like the rejection, that really stuck with me. I haven't seen it in any other storylines where he's just like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I don't think about you that way. And he actually says, like, what does he say later when he's explaining to Nobu-chan? He's like, this radish, if I start calling it a crab.
Yeah.
Can you think about it like a crab? And I'm like, that's not one-to-one Otani. Like,
They're all like, are you an idiot?
yeah, exactly. And then she just gets so sad. She's like, I'm a radish. I want to be a crab. And there's like a little crab running around in the background. I'm
And
like,
they're
that's
like,
cute.
no, that's not the point, Risa. No, like, let's get over this.
And the other thing I like too, when the other rejections happen, is there's at one point he was like, it's me. There's nothing wrong with you. You're great. You're funny. You know, I like hanging out with you.
He's
And
very
like,
open about like no, it's not you. It's a me problem. And I'm like, you know, normally when people say that, they don't really mean it. But I like genuinely sensed, I'm like, no, he means it. He's like, you have done nothing wrong. It is I who do not have not processed your feelings correctly. I have misunderstood my flirting that I was definitely doing.
oh yeah. Oh my gosh. There's several points where people are like, oh my God, Otani, the heartbreaker. And he's like, I'm not a heartbreaker. And I'm like, dude, you kind of are. Like,
I don't know anything about this. Asher totally isn't Otani or anything.
oh yeah, I know those people who are just like natural flirts, and they're like, I wasn't flirting.
They're
I was
like, I
what?
don't know what you mean. I'm just nice to everyone. And you're like, people misinterpret that.
Easily misinterpret that, especially if you like them. But yeah, that's definitely one of the things Otani is a class A like romantic hero about. He's like, yeah, it's just me. I was like, I'm trying, I'm working through it, and it does take him a while. I think like 8 volumes. Well, 7 technically.
7.
But when he comes around hard, y'all. It's so freaking cute. Her birthday, the fireworks are going, and like,
Okay, he still wants to be a little secretive, and I'm like, stop being a little jerk here. And just, like,
he's
get over it.
shy. Like his previous girlfriend
he's
cheated on him.
not.
He is hard. Yeah. Wait. She's like, hold on, wait a minute. Let me reassess.
No, I'm like, did she cheat on him?
She left him for another guy.
That's
I
not
don't know
cheating.
If
That's different. That's like,
that's cheating in my opinion, because you had to have feelings before with that person.
well, thank you. Then I have cheated on my ex-boyfriend as well. Even though multiple people have told me that is false.
Well, okay. I guess it depends on where you stand with emotional cheating. Some people are like, it's not a thing. Other people are like, yeah, it is a thing.
Let's air our feelings.
Let's air our feelings about it right now. This has now turned into a romantic relationship podcast.
Yeah.
Call in real quick. No.
This is a romantic therapy podcast now.
We're gonna get into our deep feels and our exes. No, and that's the other thing I liked about this show too. It had an ex. Like there was a legit ex, and he was like, oh, she was crazy about. I mean, granted, what is that, like middle school? But still, Risa takes it pretty hard. She was like, oh shit, I'm nothing like his ex. Like, I don't look like her. I don't act like her. Like, she's cute and I'm tall and I feel jumbo and he calls me stupid all the time.
And jumbo.
Yeah. Exactly. And, that's the romantic part I was talking about, where he's like, yeah, my interests have changed. That's okay. Like, that's on me. Like, my interests have changed. You don't have to be like her. Like, you just be you. I love you. And it was like, oh my God, Otani, you're so cute. They're adorable.
Okay, well, so this manga does things different than lots of other mangas, and it's the god of romcom. So go read it now. I will admit, I think it's a bit hard to find physically. It is published because I think it was originally published in the early 2000s from Viz's Shojo Beatline. It's definitely still available, like, easily, digitally. You can also watch the anime, which is currently available on Crunchyroll. I mean, I know things are getting wacky in Crunchyroll land with acquisition, so don't quote me. I put the date in this podcast is June 1st, 2022. That's all I can say. I make no promises. Okay.
No, I legit bought DVDs for this series.
That's the only way to
keep it in my life forever.
Yeah, that's the only way to know that you will have access to it for a while.
Yeah.
Until Blu-rays get usurped by something else, some other disc thing that's smaller, proprietary, and to make you buy all your stuff again. This all a scam, you guys. Anyway.
I don't know, man. I saw a VHS and a VHS player today. I still feel like a DVD could hold out for another 20, 30 years as long as I need it.
We both went to my mom's house where she still has a VHS player, and then we went to a library that had VHSs stocked, and we were like, yeah, okay.
The technology will exist if I keep it in a pristine
just
condition.
Keep it going. Yeah, we can work it out.
Physical media is alive, y'all. No.
Physical media is alive. Oh my gosh. Well, let's get into it even harder. I mean, again, I feel like we did spoil things, but like it's the first half of the series. Also, you know that they're gonna get together. Like that's.
Plus, the series is like 20 years old, y'all. Like,
yeah, like
get out there, read it. It's beautiful.
Like if people spoiled it for me, I'd be like, you know what? That's fair. That's on me.
And actually, the aging the series is actually what we want to talk about too. So that's great.
Yes. But okay, we talked a lot of this. We can start with some characters. I mean, we talked a lot about Risa and Otani already, and a bit about Nobu and Nakao. You have told me they will be more important in the second half, so maybe we should also mention that Suzuki and Chiharu exist. Suzuki was the first guy who Risa had a crush on, supposedly, from summer school in volume 1, but then that guy ends up liking her friend Chiharu, who also has a crush on him, and they're very cute. I did love in the beginning when they all take that love quiz at the machine, and Otani and Risa get, you're 100% compatible, but Suzuki and Chiharu get 18, and they're like, oh my god, it's doomed.
It's like, it's okay if you go out with somebody else now, and everyone's trying to calm them down, and they're
like,
so
this
sweet.
is just a dumb machine. And then they're like, they do the Japanese thing where they're like, well, this was using astrology, but what if we use our blood types instead? Because in Japan, they're all about like blood type matching. And I was like, all right, you kids, you're so funny.
Well, yeah, and that was the other thing too, because Otani liked Chiharu, and that was kind of like where they made that's when they like tried to help each other, set each other up.
Yeah.
And then they went to the water park and then just had fun with each other the whole time, like Risa and Otani.
Yeah.
They were just like,
they were like, we want to go on the water slide, and everybody else was like, Nobu and Knockout had already done it, and then Suzuki and Chiharu were like, we don't want to do that, and they were like, okay, bye.
Later, dudes. And they just ran off and like did it a couple of times. I even think where they're just having so much fun together, and they're like, wait, we were supposed to go on dates with those two. Like, we're supposed to be like flirting with them. Yeah. And it's just
again, I know this feeling.
And it's just interesting because Suzuki and Chiharu, thank you.
You're just trusting me on that.
Oh, yeah. They both say later on, they're like, oh, it's so easy to talk to you because I don't see you as a girl, or I don't see you as a guy, and you're just, as my height. And again, that height complex comes back in, and, they try to cheer each other up, and it's like, it's okay, we'll just let them be together because obviously they want to be together so bad. And that's when they try to like look for other partners elsewhere. But yeah, absolutely. Very cute couples pairing up there in the front part of the series.
Yes. I feel like now I'm like, I looked at the other characters that we're going to talk about here, and I'm like, I should have mentioned volume 8. You know, I messed up where we were doing here. So we're doing volume 1 through 8. Volume 8 ends where another love rival for Otani comes in named Mimi. Just in case people are like, what's the dividing point? Okay, it's when Mimi comes and she's all like, no, I love Otani the best. And she's like Otani's neighbor or something. And she's like, I've tried to give him milk every day so that he would grow tall, which is a ridiculous plan. And then, yeah, and she's like, I'm going to go on a date with the two of you. And they go on the date. And they're like, we're having
should
so
probably
much
cut in real quick. Mimi is as tall as Risa.
Yeah.
So that was the other complex here. Keep going. You're doing great.
Right. Because she was like, he told me he would never date girls who are taller than him. So I had to make him taller than me. And now he dates you, but we're the same height. This is ridiculous. And Risa's like, you're like way prettier than me, because she's like a model. She's like, but you're fake. So, okay. So they go to play like video games at an arcade all day. And they're like, we're having so much fun. And Mimi's like, what?
She's seeing Otani in his element. She's like, I like this dude. Like, what?
She's like, what a nerd dork. Oh my God. I thought he was cool. He's such a nerd. Like, anyways, that's where we ended.
Oh, no, you're missing the best part where
I'm sorry.
No, Mimi tries to confess to Otani and he's like, no, I don't want to hear it. So he's trying to reject her politely. Like, I'm with Risa. Like, you need to give up on me.
Yeah.
And then Risa, out of nowhere, just like punches Otani. It's like, be nice to her. She has a maiden's heart. And then she like just screams at everyone practically. Or she was like, don't give up, Mimi. Like,
yes.
He rejected me like 3 times. Like, you can
steal
find
him
someone
from me.
Like, yeah, it's such a weird complex there too. I'm like, what are you doing, Risa? Like, you work so hard. You're finally dating him. This is what you wanted.
She's a nice girl, okay?
She is. She's so sweet. And she was like, oh, Tani, you're mine, but let's give her hope. And I'm like, what are you doing?
She also has an interesting mix of like she's definitely has the thing where she's like, I am not worthy of Otani, or like, I'm not girly enough and all these things. But at the same time, I'm like, she doesn't let that like actually hold her back in any way. She doesn't like try to like change herself, really.
Yeah,
like
be someone she's not.
Yeah, even though Nobu's always like, what are you doing?
Although,
Stop.
okay, maybe there are a few times when they're like, you know, show your boobs, and she's like, okay, I can't do that. That's illegal. And they're like, no, like metaphorically.
Metaphorical boobs.
And so she tries to flirt and be cute with him. And there's like even like cutesy little hearts, like when she's talking to him, and he's like, ew, what are you doing? And she gets right back into her personality again. So like there's no changing her. She's just like fully 100% herself. And I think that's another thing that Otani loves about her. It's just like, she's not fake. Like, I feel like that's something Risa is really good at. It's just being herself in that moment. When she's sad, you're going to know she's sad. When she's like really super happy, when she's mad at you, she's giving you ugly face, and it's just fantastic.
It's just so good. Yeah, so... Oh, yeah. So, like, we discussed Mayu briefly. She was Otani's ex. And, like, her last name was Kanzaki. And she kind of looked like Hitomi Kanzaki from Escaflowne. And I was like, is this, like, a reference? Anyway, that's just me.
Good catch. I didn't catch that.
That's just a me thing. Okay. There's not really that much to say about her. Like, when she was like, I want to talk to Otani.
Oh, wait, before, real quick, too. Sorry to keep jumping in, but she looks
Loyola
exactly...
has this thing memorized in a way that I don't, so I'm just like, I don't know, man. What do you want to just go through the whole manga, every little moment? You're like, this was funny.
Wait, hold on 1 second. So what's interesting about that is Chiharu looks exactly like Otani's ex. Mm-hmm. So there's some weird stuff going on there as well. And I was just like, you creepy, man. You creepy, man. That's a creepy part. And I couldn't tell if it was like he still hung up on her or he had moved past. They don't really get into that part, but I thought that was interesting that the girl he goes after in high school looks exactly like his ex.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things going on there. But also, lol, he's just in denial about being in love with Risa, so it's all good.
Yeah, and his ex, like, the whole thing is like, you know, she was the manager on the basketball team, and he's a big fan. Like, he plays on basketball teams. and they locked them in a closet together. The team did. They're like, we know you guys want to be together, so we're going to lock you in a closet. Lock them in a closet. They came out. They were dating in middle school. I'm not sure how long they said they were dating, but they did say that she left him to date a guy named Giant Baba.
Yeah.
Don't name your kid that. No, I'm kidding. I don't think that's his real nickname. It's his nickname. It's his nickname. And then she comes in and out of the series depending on whether or not her and Giant Baba like break up. And so it's always alluded to that she's going to ask Otani out again. It's never stated, like she never actually does it as far as I can see. She does ask him one time at Christmas, like, hey, can you come by my school? I need to talk to you about something. And he's like, no, there's a girl who would be very upset and cry if I did that, so I'm not going to do that. And then he goes after Risa, and I'm like, oh my God, Otani, you're so cute. So cute.
Oblivious jerk face.
I know, but he knows. He knows. On some level, he knows. So that's his ex. And I really don't see a lot of shoujo mangas where it's like, oh, I've done this before. I've been in a relationship before. This is something that...
No, I feel like that comes up fairly often, but usually the ex ends up actually being kind of a jerk. Like in the like, I want to get back with them kind of way. Whereas this was handled okay. Like she definitely did want to do that, but she wasn't all disrespectful after they got together, right? Like she was like, oh, okay. Like you like Risa. I get it. Like, you know, like she doesn't even, then she gets back together with her other ex-boyfriend, right? And it's like, okay.
Yeah, I want to hear more about their relationship. Like, why do you guys keep getting, breaking up and getting back together again? Like, what's your deal?
I think the only other characters that are like really worth bringing up in this section are Haruka and Seiko. You did mention Seiko before. So Seiko is also, everybody loves Otani for some reason. Not enough people like Risa. Where they at? It's wrong. Anyway, so Seiko is like, comes in, is like new, is a freshman when they're a sophomore, I'm pretty sure. And Seiko is like, oh my gosh, like, you're so cool, Risa senpai. And they're like, oh yay, we're senpais.
Another beat where Otani saves Seiko from a dog on the first day of school. And he's walking with Risa and there's like, oh, it's a dog. And Seiko's terrified of dogs and, he saves her and she falls in love with him. Like,
yeah. That's
a whole other shoujo manga right there. But
just straight up kisses him on the lips, like right there.
Oh yeah. She's like, goes for it. I'm like, get it, girl.
Get it. Turns out that Seiko is biologically male, and so when that reveal happened, I was like, oh, bad things are gonna happen. Yeah. This is a manga from the early 2000s. And then there was like maybe one moment where I was like, I don't know that like it would have happened like that, but okay. And then from then on they were like, all right, Seiko's a girl, and go on. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so nice.
Yeah, it's definitely not of its time, because I feel like it would have definitely been like a joke or like a running gag at Seiko's expense. But no, like when Otani finds out, he's like, no, you're Seiko. And he calls her and is even like, you like who you like.
Yeah, but he's like, I don't like you like that because I'm not, like, I can't get past that. But he's like, but that's fair, like, whatever.
I think even before he knew, like, he still wasn't that into Seiko. Like, she attacks him, and I don't think he really like likes that part. And so he just
liked the attention.
Yeah, he liked the attention. He liked making Risa annoyed. It was like, I'm gonna win our bet. And then when he finds out, he's like, no, you can like me, that's totally fine.
That's fine. Just don't like kiss me out of the blue again. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Personal boundaries.
Exactly. And then Risa's love interest from the past returns.
Yeah, Haruka.
I
hate this guy. He's definitely the worst character.
Yeah, Haruka comes back, and I they used to be neighbors, and Risa saved him from being bullied when he was a child, and he was a crybaby. And, you know, he comes back from America super hot, very tall, has earrings.
You have a type, I guess.
I'm just saying the manga
the
presents
manga
him
wants him to be hot.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And Risa's just like, oh, you're still a crybaby. No, thank you. Like, like she's never even, like, he confesses to her all the time. He's like, Risa, just be with me. Just be with me. And I think she even says at one point, like, he doesn't like me as like a woman. He likes me because I saved him as a child, and that's something entirely different. And I was like, whoa, where are you getting this emotional maturity from? Like, that's weird.
It's incredible the balance between how actually all the conversations that these characters have are really, really mature, and yet like the dumbness, like the obliviousness of them, like both sides are believable, right? Like it really captures, I think, a very particular high school experience without being like mean and gross about it in a way that I think a lot of things are like, teenagers are really just doing drugs and having sex and like being delinquents, and it's like, no, they're all really wholesome and like
They care
but they're
about each
also
other.
dumb,
Yeah.
but then sometimes they're also really smart, and you're like, yeah, that's high school, that resonates with me.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely some focusing on the wrong part happening, a wrong part of the conversation. Like someone will be upset and then it'll be like, oh, you're upset about problem A? And they're like, no, literally I'm upset about problem B that you just said in the same sentence. And it does not occur to them. I'm like, so there's this level of trying to be aware, like what am I doing? Like what just happened? Something happened, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
And I resonate with that so hard.
Yes.
Like, wait, what just happened? But yeah. And so Sayako and Haruka, they become friends and they show up throughout the series. And one thing, I don't like Haruka because when he's mad at Sayako, he'll misgender her and call her by her dead name. And I'm like, that is mean, dude. Don't do that.
He did do that once in this early, but I did like that they were all like, shut up.
they knocked that shit off right away, which I was like, good for them. Good for them. And like Seiko is just so cute, such a cupcake, and is just so happy when Risa and Otani finally do get together, which is very sweet.
Seiko's great. Haruka can get out of here.
I do like that his joke though is always like, Otani, stand between me and Risa, and like they'll hold his hand and be like, look, we captured an alien, because Risa and Haruka are like the same height, or he's a little taller than her, and so it's just like this little dude between them, and I'm like, that's rude.
It's rude.
But that does sound like something that would happen in high school, right? It was just
exactly.
like, oh my God.
Like that level of rudeness.
Right.
Would totally happen in high school.
But yeah, I mean, Otani will never be good enough for Risa, according to Hayako. And he was like, yeah, just be with me or my cousin Mighty. Like, that'd be cool.
God, Mighty. I don't even want to talk about that guy.
Oh, come on. The cheese ball.
He's not a cheese ball. I don't know what he is. He's no.
Yeah, no. There's a level too where I'm like, oh, you're a teaching aide or a teacher.
Yeah, I like when they were like, does he not know how buttons work? Because he never buttons up their shirt, so they're like, does he just not know how they work, or like, is he averse to buttons? Like, we don't understand.
He does have a lot of chest showing for a teacher, and I'm like, all right.
I'm like, you need to put that away. Nobody should be able to see your nipples. Like,
right.
I don't understand.
Your underage pupils do not need to see that.
You're supposed to see your inner boobies, inner nipples. Nipples are for screen tones, according to Nakahara.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's hilarious. Her side, like the asides, too, in the manga is just, love it. Like, tell me more, girl.
I feel like they really explained the theory of the manga. Like, she's just like, here's all the tiny, like, semi-funny daily things that I'm doing. And she's like, nobody cares. Just nobody cares. And then she's like, yeah, do you guys ever listen to people on the street talking? They just talk about things that nobody actually cares about. Like, it's hot today. Like, yeah, we can all tell. You don't need to say it out loud. And I'm just like, Yeah, this is a whole manga about stuff that nobody cares about, and she's just like, I'm just gonna make fun of everything. Just like
She did a great job of balancing that nobody cares to like Loyola cares overly much.
yeah, we all care so much. We are so emotionally invested right now. Oh my gosh.
For real. But yeah, it's for, you know, Mighty to come in, and this is after Risa's been rejected. And, you know, he looks a lot like her dating game character, Kane, who is, I believe, French.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, okay.
You're just like, I know.
And so she's playing this dating game, and like, oh, Otani has just been mean to her, rejected her again, and she's just like, I am done with that fool. I'm just going to focus solely on you, Kane. And she tries and works very hard to get Kane in the game to say he loves her. So this girl is just chasing affection, just chasing it wherever she can get it. And Mighty shows up and is, you know, teaching aide, our co-teacher, and she's just all over, flattered, like, that he's paying attention to her. And she starts a club in his honor.
I hate this man. I'm not gonna acknowledge his
I think
presence.
it's a perfect character to like get Otani riled up, because the coach throws out his back on the basketball team. So Mighty steps in and he's just like egging Otani on. And he was like, oh, you're so short. Like, why would a tall girl like you? Or like, are you going to bring your A game today? Like, I really want to show off for Risa. And I'm just like, the perfect character to like egg him just all the time. And I think like he was very emotionally supportive of Risa too. Like,
He was.
yeah, he listened to her whole story about like how much she loves Otani, and he's like, let me work some magic for you. That part is a little cheesy. He's like, I got magic. Let me work it for you.
No, I like, that's the one thing I liked. I like when he was like, I have magic powers. I'm going to work it for you, girl. And I was like, what does that mean? And then it just meant making fun of Otani to make him jealous. And I was like, you know what? I like it. I'm down with this one thing that you've done.
My magic is emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
Like, that's my magic. I can make young men mad.
Just so mad.
Just so mad. And it worked because Otani was so mad. He was just so mad. And then that led to like the second rejection, where he was like egging Otani on. Otani yells something. Risa overhears it. And then she just like is crying, literally crying. Like tears are coming out. And she's like, well, I'm going to head home now. Bye. And just like turns around running, crying away. And I'm just like, oh, this poor girl. This poor girl. She's just getting it from every end. I'm like, don't be mean to her. She's trying.
She's trying her best.
She is. And I think that at one point, you know, Mighty definitely like gets to Otani where he just like yells like, or even just pulls Risa back and is like, she's with me. She loves me, not you. Let's go, Risa. Just marches
She's like,
out.
you just told me you didn't want to do this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
A lot of back and forth. If that like level of like you just said back and forth like grates
Like,
on you, then you might not like
use your
this.
word. It's true. This, like the part where Mighty comes in, I think bothers me less. It's like, it's not about Mighty, right? It's about Otani's response to Mighty, where I'm like, Otani, you know, you're supposed to be a sweet boy and like be good emotionally, like be emotionally like observant, right? Like that's kind of what Risa likes about him, is that whenever she's feeling down, he's always like, hey, I know the perfect thing to cheer you up, right? And so when the plan is like make him jealous, I'm like, oh, I'm not, like, I don't want to see Otani like this, you know? Like that's basically what it really comes down to. It has nothing to do with Mighty.
I liked Otani like this because I don't know, there's something about jealousy is never about the relationship. Let me just be clear on that. It's not about the relationship. It's a very insecure thing. I'm feeling insecure, so therefore it leads to jealousy. So I usually don't like it in story beats, but I like it in this one. I
But
like
this
seeing
one is an
Otani just being
exception.
like, yeah, exactly. And I feel bad about that. But I just like seeing Otani like struggle, you know, like Risa struggled of like, what is this emotion? Like somebody explain it to me. I just told her I don't want like her fawning over me, but now like she's going to somebody else, and now I'm like, I don't like that. And it leads to the beautiful moment on the bike.
I do. Every time they lean against each other on the bike, I'm like, my heart, I can't take it.
It's so sweet. And in the anime, it's very nicely done because there's like music playing over it, and there's like wind, and you know, like they're just like being
you're
so
just trying
cute.
to
In this
convince me to watch an anime now.
You need to. Like, you need to. Everybody, go watch it, read the manga, consume this media. All facets of it are fantastic. Because each brings its own little like flair to the couple, which I love. But for sure, like, moments on the bike are great, and you know, she it's so sweet. There's one point where she was like, you know, Otani, like, we've had a bad couple of days, and I don't like this. I don't like us being like this. So for real, I think we should just be friends, and I'm sorry I put you through all this. And then he's like, don't give up on me. Give me time. And I was like, oh my God, Otani, you can't do that. And he even admits it, right? Because he was like, I know it's like, unfair of me to
that's a
say
dick move.
because I rejected you, but don't give up yet. And I was like, oh, you bastard. So when I see Risa freaking out and going back and forth between like, I don't like him, I'm giving up on him, he's stupid, to like, oh my God, my heart. I get it. Like, if he was just like a bland character, you know what I mean? Like, he couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
That level of like, I can see why Risa is so back and forth with this.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I project too much like personal stuff on it, because like in doing my friends to lovers timeline, I definitely was like, but what if I tell my now husband that I love him or that I like him, I have a crush on him, and he's like, oh, no, like we should just remain friends. I was like, I'm pretty sure we're both big enough people to like make that work, right? But like that level of emotional maturity or like thought did not go into Risa's confession, right? So then I'm like, oh, this in between space is actually very like grating to me. Like, I'm like, I don't think I ever wanted to be in this liminal space of of hell.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's very much hell. It's very much the grossest feeling, I think, because everything is on edge, right?
Yeah.
And it's very well captured in the design. I think great illustration done on the different feelings people are feeling. They're doing a fantastic job just being like, what's that ugly face? Like, yeah. Just the reactions alone are fantastic. So definitely read the manga too.
Okay. Well, so we did get one listener question that I won't be able to answer, but Loyola, who has watched every version or read it 50 million times, I believe can answer the question. So at Lumramayasha on Twitter, who's a host of the Manga Mavericks podcast, said, I haven't read the series yet, but funnily enough, I actually found and bought the live action movie that Viz licensed back in the day at a library sale recently. Have you seen the movie, and do you have any thoughts on how it compares to the manga? Loyola, I know that you have seen the movie.
Yes. I've seen the live action movie. Honestly, it does not hold a candle to the manga, even the anime. Like, it's a good movie, don't get me wrong.
So it's like the ranking is manga, anime, live action.
Yeah, and even in some points, the manga and the anime might switch if we're looking at different aspects. But okay. For sure. Definitely a great film. I liked it for its cuteness. And it captures the story overall, I think, very well. I think that what's really great about the series are these beats that happen, these comedic timings that really contribute to why we want to see this couple succeed and why we want them to be together. I don't think that the live action captures it in the same way. Additionally, I had trouble believing the live action version of the height difference between the two actors wasn't as great as I thought it needed to be, because in the manga, Otani is like 5'2", yeah. And Risa is like 5'8", almost 5'9". And in the movie, they do this thing to try to make her look taller where they like pile her hair on top of her head.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, that's not really doing it for me. But great acting done, I think. Great intro to the series, but I would definitely prefer reading the manga or watching the series.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting because, you know, I definitely acknowledge that in the US we have kind of a skewed perception of how, like, what popular things should get. So, like, if something starts as a manga and then it gets a live action adaptation but not an anime, we're like, oh no, that like sucks. But like live action, it's the same here, right? Like cartoons are not as popular as any number of live action you know, series and everything. So I fully acknowledge that a live action movie probably did gangbusters like around an anime probably.
Absolutely.
Or like did. So for exposure reasons, it's totally good. But I totally acknowledge that I don't really watch, like anytime I watch a live action anime adaptation, I'm like, I didn't want that actually.
Right.
You know? Like, I don't want my cartoons to not be cartoons. Like, I watch cartoons for a reason, you know? Like,
Right. And I think definitely what you're saying about reaching a wider audience, because who has time to read, 18 volumes? 17 volumes.
Of Lovecom.
I think I might have done some fanfic in my head. No, for 18th volume.
You've read it like a million times, so really it's been like 150 volumes. Who has time for that?
For sure. But yeah, who has time to read all the, and then who has time to like, you know, watch the anime?
Yeah.
I do. I have plenty of time to do both, but definitely love that they had a live action version, which is great.
Yeah. And unfortunately, again, I feel like, you know, current licensing things, maybe I didn't look up hard enough, but like I don't think that movie is legally available in the US versus, you know, we still have fairly easy access to the manga and the anime. So I'm just like, I would definitely like to experience, like if I was gonna watch a movie based on an anime or a manga, Lovecom actually seems like a fairly, except in the part where like a lot of the humor comes from the very silly faces that they make, which you can't do, you know, in a live action adaptation. But like a rom-com is always like, yeah, you can make a solid movie out of that, right?
Yeah. The premise of, you know, the height, I think, you know, definitely is a great conversation to have.
Yeah.
I think I've spoken with a lot of...
And you can hit like the big story beats.
Right. Absolutely. And the overall themes, I think, do get a little condensed, but not in a bad way. Definitely you lose some of the smaller elements for sure. But I have spoken with like, you know, friends, and we've talked about like what kind of partner you're looking for. And height does come up very often. Okay. Usually top of the list. So I definitely think it has that conversational element of like, would you date someone shorter or taller than you, you know?
I mean, that definitely came up. Okay, so what I was going to say about the author's notes is that like, you know, relating her, like all these things don't matter. You know, part of the whole theme is like their heights really don't matter, right? Like, but lots of people do lead with it. They're like even Asher, he was like, I don't really want to date a girl who's like taller than me. And obviously I'm shorter than Asher. So I'm like, I'm your dream girl. It's me. I'm right here all the time, constantly, always.
You're just standing like, closer to him more often like, and be like, see how much taller
I always say it. Yeah. So I'm just like, but like, yeah, as you said, like tons of people put it like they just think that so many of these things are important to like compatibility or happiness, and I'm like, they're super not.
Like... There's also that question too of like, does the couple look good together? Because that's something too in the background that people comment on in the manga of like, oh look, you know, they look good together because he's tall and she's kind of short and cute, and that, you know, is definitely a point Risa has stuck in her mind when she goes on her first date with Otani too, of like, well, I can't be short, let me try and be cute, and be cute in this very specific way in which, you know, his ex was cute.
Yeah.
And she only met his ex like twice.
Yeah.
Which is
But
pretty
she
funny.
knows.
She knows. She's projecting like all this, cuteness and like what I need to be
I got
off of this
down.
person. Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, for sure. I think the thing that hit me too was when they were on their date at the arcade. Risa's the one who's really into video games, and admittedly she's into visual novels, which is very coded like female. I'm not saying they're not video games. I'm just saying that's like, it's not like she's like seemingly playing FPSs and like being like really bro about her gaming abilities, right? But then like, she still beats Otani seemingly more often than not at the games and everything. And then, like Mimi sees that, or I think that's not actually the point. It's just like she sees some other couple where the girl is like, "Oh, you won again, honey."
That was
like,
on their
that's
first
so
date.
Cool. And then Risa's like, "Oh wait,
I just pummeled him.
It's cuter when the girl loses." But then of course she doesn't change anything. She's just like, "Oh, I see the gender that we are supposed to do. Oops, I didn't do that."
And she
he
gets
likes
down
me
on herself.
anyway.
Yeah, she gets down on herself. I will admit that, because there is that moment of like, "Oh man, I'm the pits." Like she says it. The slang in this is also really bad.
But if it doesn't stick, I'm like, that's fine. You can
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that
absolutely.
moment where you like acknowledge it and you feel a bit bad about it. And then you go on your merry way and you're like, but this man loves me for me.
Exactly. So when you're listening out there, like definitely keep that in mind. If you have that reaction, you have a reaction, it doesn't need to be your defining moment. Be like Risa, y'all.
Yeah, you can have a thought actually and not react to the thought. It's wild. See, you can have a racist thought and just not do
Right,
anything.
exactly. You're like, "Oh damn, need to catch myself, not do that."
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving on.
That's really the difference between people here. Like,
And that's
this
why
is the
Risa's so
lesson.
good. She's
Yes.
just like, "I feel really down on myself. Oh well, I'm cool anyway." And just like keeps going.
And then Otani's like, "Umibozu," and she's like, "Yes, Umibozu."
Oh my god, Umi Bozu. This is their like defining moment, right? Is like when they both find out they both like Umi Bozu.
Yes. And that's how they know they're soulmates.
Japanese rapper, and that was like their ignition, right? Because like for sure they've been squabbling, they've been bickering. They're like, we have mutual friends who are dating, so we'll just hang out with them. And then Omibozu comes up and they just like light up and they're like talking, like so excited. And I think that's when it's first pitched, like, "Well, why don't you guys go out?" And then they're like, "What? No, we just like this thing." And that becomes like a theme throughout their relationship as this like artist they love. No spoilers for the next half, Ashley, but yeah, it gets rough. And so like there's this one moment where they're dating and they're like, "So do we do anything or do we just talk Umibozu?" Or I think no, Nobu poses that, right? Like,
Yeah.
"Well, why do you want to date him?"
Yeah.
Like you kind of are already. Like, what's that other element that puts
Right.
it to boyfriend and girlfriend? Like you talk Umibozu, you go to concerts, y'all hang out, you do karaoke until like 1 a.m. or whatever. Like why that next level for you?
Yeah.
And she's honest. She was like, "I just want him to be my boyfriend." Like,
Yeah. I actually like that they have open discussions about like, well, yeah, what's the difference between being a friend and what's and being a couple? And I'm like, okay. I mean, there's an overemphasis on like, what if do you want to kiss him and stuff? And then she's like, kiss? Maybe?
Didn't think about that part.
What stuff? Then let's just stick with kissing, okay? Let's just get to step 1 first. Like,
right. Not even the stuff part.
Don't skip steps. Yeah, so I'm like, I like that. That's good. Because definitely, like, I feel like Asher and I had a similar dynamic where it was like we were so intensely friends that people around us could see that maybe we should be more than friends. But for a while, we were both like, we're just besties. And then at some point, I was like, oh, wait a second. maybe I want to kiss him though. Like,
maybe I want him to put a ring on it. Like,
yeah,
definitely.
maybe like I want him to stay with me forever.
Right. There's definitely that, like, I need a commitment. Like, there's some level where it was like, because you're right, Otani gets flirted with a lot.
So, right? He has
so
lots of
much. And I was
optionals.
like, what is this?
What is this?
But I'm sure y'all have that friend who just gets flirted with and they're completely oblivious. And they're like, I was like, that person was flirting with you. And they're like, what, really? I was like, yeah, like, I don't understand how you didn't see that.
Yeah, but then, like, when you know that that's their personality, like, you learn, you're like, no, they're not flirting with me. That's just
fair.
That's just like who they is as a human.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's so funny to see Risa have reactions of, like, they'll be hanging out. Like, I'm thinking of the class trip after he rejects her, after she's like, okay, we can still hang out and be friends. Another group of kids is on their class trip too, and he takes a picture and they're just talking. They're not really like flirting, you know, they're kind of giggling. She hears them say like, oh, Tani's cute. And then she just has this reaction of like, oh God, I hate you. I hate all of you.
Yeah.
It's like, I know he's supposed to be my friend, but no. That boy's mine.
Boy is mine.
Exactly. But yeah, so definitely going back to like what parts matter in a relationship and like what level do you want it to be at, I think is also a very critical theme in this series. And like when do you realize it and when does your partner realize it too? They don't happen at the same time.
You just said you have to know. You have to have your expectations aligned correctly.
Exactly. And like have those conversations as they're happening. Because I think Arisa even says that too. She does say to Otani too, just say what you want at any point. Just say what you want. And then he'll just say it. And she's like, what are you talking about? What are you saying that all of a sudden? And he's like, you told me to. She's like, oh yeah, I did. Yeah, let's work on that. And I think it's a great effort on their part to be open and honest in a way that I don't see in a lot of couples that I know in real life. I'm like,
real life, story life.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, why are you telling me that? Your beef is with them. Go talk to them. Like, what are you talking? Like, I don't know how they feel. Go ask them. For sure. Like, there's that level of maturity that we were talking about of like, I don't know how to handle this other than to say, just tell me what you feel when you feel it.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Because he started trying to like filter his reactions through what he thought would make her feel better. And he was like, don't do that.
She's like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Well, even Nakao comes up and he's like, hey man, you can't say certain things to her because to you it's nothing, but for her it like sends her over the moon or something. I think like there's at one point it's Valentine's Day and he asks her for chocolate. She was like, I don't know if I'm gonna give it to him because he already knows and he's rejected me before. Yeah. And he asks her, is like, yeah, I'll accept chocolate. Are you going to give me some? Yeah. She's like, yeah, absolutely. She gets super excited, super happy. And then he talks to his friend. He's like, I didn't mean anything. You know, I just want chocolate. I like chocolate. He's like, you can't do that to her. Like, you can't be like, you know, yeah, give me your chocolate. Because she means it as something else. And like, he means it as like, I just like chocolate.
Yeah. And then he's like, what?
Yeah, it's completely oblivious. And then he rejects her chocolate and she feels bad again. And she's like, I can't believe this. Why would you reject my chocolate? You asked for this. And then, you know, she finds out what happened and she was like, just take the chocolate. Yeah. Yes, it means something different for me than it does to you, but I feel better if you take the chocolate. And he takes the chocolate and it's like, that level of open, honest communication, the open vulnerability, I think that's also displayed here is just so freaking cute.
Yeah, the moment for me that I actually thought was like, whoa, okay, because I thought it wasn't going to be emotionally mature. It was like, I can't remember what she, like, for when Otani, like, accidentally kissed Risa. And he forgot.
With the rice? Yeah.
And then, he gives her that excuse, and then so Risa, you know, feels all bad because she's like, he doesn't even remember, he's giving me the excuse, he doesn't like me at all, and like blah blah blah. So Nobu goes to Otani and he's like, Otani, you have to apologize. And then he's like, apologize for what though? And she's like, it doesn't matter. Just say you're sorry. And I was like, no, it does matter, Nobu. So I was like mad that it said like, just say sorry and it'll be all okay. And then, he said sorry to Risa and she's like, for what though? And I was like, yes, roast him.
Exactly. No, I love that. I love that part so much too. And she's like, for forgetting?
Yeah.
For actually kissing me?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what are
like
you
which
sorry?
one?
Yeah.
Which one?
And then he says like all of it. And I was like, oh buddy, don't, no.
I think he was just like,
Oh, right. He's like, and then she just assumes it's like, okay, you meant all of it. And then she goes off.
Yeah. She's like, you don't know what you're apologizing.
Which is another way of saying what works in someone else's relationship. Because even Nobu's boyfriend, Nakao, is like, yeah, he's like nodding in the background, like, yeah, just apologize.
Yeah.
And yeah, what works in their relationship isn't necessarily going to work in yours. And that's totally fine as well.
And that's cool.
That's totally cool.
Yeah. So I think we're nearing the end of things that we had written down. Oh, well, there are two, I don't know how to lump these things, but like another general observation where we're like, this manga does some things that we don't really see in other manga. Another thing is just that it is so weird to be reading a manga about a school where the uniform is optional.
Yes.
That's so weird. I'm like, and also like what I observed is that the manga artist is not like being lazy about it. Like she's not like using screen tones and everything, like different screen tones to fill in their shirts. Like there were some where I was like, that's probably a screen tone that you just like put on a shirt. But mostly I'm like, no, she just legit like draws several different outfits and I rarely see them be reused. And I'm like, why would you make this game harder on yourself? Like,
no, yes. I love the outfits. I love them so much. You're absolutely right. I've never seen a school where uniforms were optional. I mean, they still wear their uniforms like on the ceremony, opening the school and everything, the first day. But other than that, no one wears their uniform. Like there's not even background characters with uniforms on. They all have their own outfits and they're all very stylish. And I'm like, what kind of school are you at?
I'm just like, why as a manga artist, you're like, this isn't a manga about fashion or anything. And she's just like, yeah, you know what? Seems like a fun challenge.
No, and she does this for 17 volumes. I'm like, how are you still coming up with like outfit ideas? And it's not just the women characters. It's like all the characters are super stylish. Like, it's definitely noticeable. There's really no like you can also tell the seasons better, which I love too, because they also wear their cute outfits during the seasons. Of course, scarves and hats.
They're in sweaters right now. Yeah. Or they in t-shirts again.
Yeah. Or like they do layers as well. Like Risa is wearing like I think pants and like a peasant top, like the one that comes down to about the thigh level. Really looking at areas that exacerbate like the height, I think, as well of the characters too. Like Otani's in a lot of baggy shirts and their styles are so different. Definitely when the guys are hanging out as well, like you get the different sense of like their personalities. So I love that she did that extra effort, that extra mile and tried harder.
Yeah. And you certainly get like it's easier. Because, like, in a lot of shoujo manga, the main character girl will be like, other girls are cuter than me. But they're all, like, wearing the same thing, right? So it's all, like, in their hair.
Accessories.
Or, like, their accessories, makeup. And so with this, it's like, Risa will be like, everybody's cuter than me. And you kind of, like, get the sense of, like, it's not that she's unstylish. It's that, like, Seiko and Chiharu and Nobu all have, like, this, like, very more like distinct kind of like flamboyant sense of style, or they're just like their statures make them look cuter, whereas Risa, it's like, yeah, okay, you look kind of like gangly like in this, and you're not like putting whole efforts into this and everything,
Absolutely. I think like that definitely comes out of like what is cute. Like it's definitely Nobu-chan style, Seikyo style for sure. Super cute. Small petite woman, you know, anything they wear is cute. And there's this fashion blogger I watch or follow on Instagram who's just like, is that fashion or is that person just skinny? Like there's a specific difference in like body style that's going on here. And I was like, so I have to always run that through my mind.
Tumblr, like, is this person fashionable or are they just skinny?
Absolutely. Where it's like, let's think about this real quick, Loyola. And I'm like, oh, that's a cute outfit. I was like, is it though? Like, let's see what's happening.
The one other thing I wanted to do before doing some of the, I'm going to quiz you. I'm going to make you do the quizzes in the volume 8.
Love the quizzes.
Some of it was to acknowledge that, yeah, some of the weirdness is a bit weird to be reading this localization that's like dated with slang, but the slang is there because they're trying to localize a Kansai dialect, which is distinct from the like default quote unquote default to like Tokyo dialect. And just like it's so weird. And I think we briefly discussed how it's also weird to have this kind of slapstick comedy duo. Like we don't really like see that type of comedy duo anymore. When I was like, let me look up comedy duos like on the internet, and I was like yeah, like who's doing this anymore? And it was like, well, prominent ones are Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, and then like YouTubers like Smosh. And I was like, yeah, but that's not the same as
it's
this
slapstick.
Yeah. And then it said that like this kind of comedy duo style, you know, just looking at Wikipedia briefly, in Japan it has a particular like equivalent called manzai. And it actually is really popular in Osaka, which is the region that they're in Lovecom. So I'm like, okay, it makes sense. But I just feel like, yeah, in general, like we as Americans are not really so used to this like comedy duo style anymore. And it definitely feels like a bit dated. Like you feel the datedness, but like in a quaint sort of fun way, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you brought that up because when you said comedy duo, the only other person I could think of was like Penn and Teller. But I was like, they do magic. It's a little different. I mean, there's some comedic elements in it, not the focal point, of course. But yeah, there is some like hitting happening, and they do say ow, so I'm also like I don't know if you should hit your girlfriend or boyfriend. Like this is also, but I also understand
are always punching each other.
Yeah, like a punch to the face, and I was like, okay, this is comedic for sure, but again, like I always have to make sure I'm questioning my intake of media, right? Like, okay, we have to problematize this a little bit. You can't just blindly accept this, Loyola. And definitely want to make sure that we're being conscientious of like what is consensual hitting, what is like flirting hitting, like what is body contact and who can touch your body when you want them to. Not taking place in this. Like it's definitely very much like punches to the face.
It's just funny.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be cute and funny and like it's supposed to be motivating as well. And there are just moments where they just start like bickering. And like they'll be at a cafe and they'll be bickering and like the wait staff will start laughing. And I'm like, that I couldn't tell if that was like a Japanese sense of humor, because I was like, if I saw that as a wait staff in America, I'd be like, God damn it, just leave. just pay and leave, please. Like this is not funny. I don't
want to work in a service job.
And like I don't know, I just find bickering very exhausting. But yeah, for sure. I don't know why I find this so entertaining though. Maybe because it's...
Yeah, like in this you're like, oh, it's funny. But like, I think if we were to come across it in literally any other medium, we'd be like, no, this is like, what year is this? What decade am I in? What century am I in? Like, it doesn't make sense. But Lovecom pulls it off somehow.
Yeah, it's definitely very cutesy.
Okay, Loyola. So I wanted to make you do these quizzes in the back, but not all of them. Some of them are visual, so that won't. This is a audio. It's an audio medium. So, okay. So, what is the current difference in Risa and Otani's heights? 5 11/16 inches, 6.5 inches, or 6 and 11/16 inches?
Oh, God.
This is the easy one, Loyola.
Oh, I didn't know there was going to be a quiz.
It's a whole quiz.
I'm going to say, no, I said it earlier. He's 5'2", she's 5'8". 6 in the last one.
The last one. You are correct.
Yeah.
6 and 11/16.
They were very specific, right? Of 11/16.
Yes. You were like, I don't know the numbers you said, but the last one. Yes, correct. What did Otani compare Risa to on the class trip to Hokkaido? You definitely already know this.
Yeah.
Pickled sour plum, pickled radish, pickled onion.
Pickled radish.
Ding, 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 ding. I need to insert sound effects. Who was the black suited assistant in the basketball team skit? Nakao, Giant Baba, Suzuki.
Nako.
Yes.
That one was pretty funny too.
No, it was terrible. What is Seiko's given name? Oh gosh, I have to say it. Seinosuke Kotobuki, Seiichiro Kotobuki, or Seishiro Kotobuki.
I don't like this question, so I'm going to refuse to answer. Is that cool?
No, that's not.
Her name is Seikyo.
You don't get no, the question was properly phrased, actually. Unoffensively phrased. It said given name. Not real name or nothing. I've said that before.
Yeah, I definitely run that character. I'm scanning. Are you being rude? Are you being rude?
Yeah, so you don't know. You forfeit on this question?
No, I just want to refuse to answer.
No. You're going to guess 1, 2, or 3 right now.
Okay, all right, fine.
I can say it again. Seinosuke Kotobuki, Seiichiro Kotobuki, or Seishiro Kotobuki.
I honestly don't know, but I'm going to say the third one.
You are correct.
Oh, yay! I don't know why that one sounded right, because I just reread the volume where Haruka says her name or says that name, and they get mad at him. Don't. Her name's Seiko. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What did Risa give Otani for Christmas their second year of high school? Gloves, wristband, ticket to Umibozu concert.
Gloves.
I'm pretty sure that is correct. Yes. Yes.
I love it because she saw his hands were cold and she was like, I'm going to get him gloves. And I was like, look at you, Risa. So considerate.
Okay. Where did Risa and Otani go on the first date after becoming a couple? 1, the beach. 2, karaoke. 3, game center.
Game center.
Yes, correct. Okay, so you got all them beginner questions correct.
Yes.
Are you ready for this hard stuff?
Okay.
Okay. So this is fill in the blanks. So get prepared to die.
No multiple choice.
No multiple
Always
choice.
The worst for me.
Okay, Risa's birthday is on blank.
Oh, shoot.
You're like, this is coming in real hot.
I know it's in the summer.
Okay.
I know it's before school starts.
Okay.
I think
those two things are correct so far, but this is give me a hard date,
I think she's a Leo. She has a blood type of 0. I think not 0.
Blood type of 0. No blood type.
I'm gonna say July 21st.
No, it is August 3rd, according to the.
That was close.
Okay, sure. Risa's homeroom you shouldn't answer this until I read all 3 blanks.
Okay.
Risa's homeroom teacher is Mr. Blank, more commonly known as Blank.
I don't know.
The subject he teaches is blank.
Homeroom teacher, Mr. I don't know. I feel like I already proved that I don't read people's names properly.
You did.
Haido?
No.
Oh, okay. And then he teaches. No, he's also known as Mr. I know it, but I don't know it right now. God.
It's your favorite series.
I know. I can see his face if that helps anything. No, it does not.
Anything. I can also see his face.
And he's so cute. He's so supportive of them. So supportive. I don't know what they refer to him as. Something like Not even close. Big man?
I mean, Kong. So like
Kong, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay.
And the subject he teaches is?
I know Mighty teaches English. He teaches... I know he's a homeroom teacher. I think he teaches like Japanese history.
He teaches math.
Oh God. No, he does teach math because like in volume 9, of course. Okay.
You're not gonna get this either. Mighty's real name is blank blank. You might get this part. He is blank years old.
Oh damn. I don't know his name. I just refer to him as Mighty.
That's fair.
I think it's like Maitori or something like that. No.
Kuniumi Maitake.
Maitake. He is 23.
No, he's 24. Come on.
24. No, that's right, because the girls guessed 23, and Risa's like, 23. No, you're 24.
You've been brainwashed. Come on, get it right. The title of the dirty video Nako had hidden in his room was...
I forgot about that.
You were like, what? I'm so scandalized.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. You know, I don't remember. I think it was like, it wasn't...
So Asher and I were a bit annoyed at this. But do tell me what you haven't given the answer yet.
I didn't think it was like very vulgar. It was something like hot women or something. It was very generic, I thought.
No, it was Titanic. It was Titanic by Panic, okay? And that's a very particular Japanese pun. We're pretty sure it was trying to be like Titanic boobs, because in Japanese, opai is boobs. So we're like Titanic. But we were like, come on, Titanic was right there. Titanic. Like,
that was the offensive part.
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
This one I'm like, how do you... blank is the phrase Risa uses for shocks too big to say, oh my god.
Gosh? Is it?
No, she says, oh my gourd, apparently.
Gourd? She says it like 1 or 2 times.
I know, I was like,
what are you talking about? How is gosh less than gourd anyway? Or gourd less than gosh?
I think it's like saying that she's trying to say that something is smaller.
Oh, I see. It's like, oh my gosh is big, and then oh my gourd is small.
Yes.
Guess that's clever. Am I sure this is my favorite series? Like,
are you sure? Haruka is 1/4 blank.
Annoying.
No, that's not it.
No, he's 1/4.
He's 3/4 annoying.
Fair. He's 1/4 related to Mighty.
English.
Oh.
You're like, what?
Oh, going into lineage. Okay.
Yes.
That's right. He's English.
Kane is a character in a game called Blank.
Oh my god. I have to remember what the game is called?
This game is mean. This quiz is so mean.
This is like... Okay, calm down. You know what I mean? I'm more for the storyline. I don't know what this thing is.
No, I do love it because this is definitely, I feel like this is the way that men interact with media. They're like,
oh my god,
why don't you know every little stupid fact about this media? And you're like, I don't know, because I just want to live in the feels and the characters, and not just like, the important thing about the characters, again, is not their birthday or their height.
Right. I mean, I should know their names.
How they interact
with each other. That's the key point here.
Anyway.
Stab in the dark.
Yeah, what you gonna say? This should be good.
My boyfriend?
No. Lovey-Dovey Fantasia 2.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
That's like I've seen that around.
I think so.
I feel like I should stop torturing you.
No, keep going. This is funny. To me. I don't know if anyone's laughing about it, but yeah. I'm like, shit. This is definitely how guys interact.
Kane has blank and cafe au latte for breakfast.
It's a like a baguette or like a croissant.
It is a croissant.
I know that one.
You're like, I know this one.
Allow me into the boys club now. I know that one.
Hawaiian Dancer is on the menu of Cafe Blank.
Oh god, I don't know the name of the cafe. I know the name of the cafe she works at eventually, but not this one.
Well, maybe I don't know. I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, sorry.
Spoilers.
Spoiler.
She works at a cafe.
Shit, sorry. Cafe. I know they have a drink called the Polynesian Dancer too.
Yeah, I know that too.
Cafe. I couldn't even guess.
Titanic. No.
Cafe latte.
Ikebe.
Oh,
It's Japanese. Their first year in school, Risa made Otani a Valentine's Day cake that said blank on it.
It said
The first.
obligatory or something along those lines, right? Obligatory, or it says friendship.
According to this, it said just friends, yeah.
Just friends. Okay, that's a translation thing too, because when I watched the anime, it said like obligatory. Like,
Well, yeah, because
chocolate, yeah.
in Japan, there's a difference between like lovey-dovey chocolates and like just like we're just giving chocolates for fun because that's fun. So we're like friend chocolate. So it's definitely
Right.
just trying to say this like
Just friends.
this is just a friend chocolate. At the school festival, their second year, Nakao dressed up as blank.
Cheerleader?
Ratman.
Oh, right.
You're like, yes. When Otani got sick with a fever, Risa brought him blank when she went over to his house.
She brought him oranges and his report. His grades report.
This one says tangerines.
Okay, tangerines.
You're like, that's the same difference.
Some type of citrus fruit. That's orange.
Okay, fair enough.
It was also his birthday that day, and his sister got him a cake.
You're
I know
like-
other things.
I love this. The color of the coin purse Risa dropped in Hokkaido was blank.
Oh, this is bull. It's a black and white comic. That's not fair.
Did she have to say to Otani what color it was? 'Cause
Oh yeah,
they
she
were-
did. I think. Shoot, she said it was. I know that has the two bunnies and one bunny's biting the ear. I'm gonna say it's red.
It was red.
Yes, but her favorite color is blue, and Otani's favorite color is orange.
Okay, that's not the question. Otani is called blank by his family.
Just trying to get some credit back. He's
that's not
called Achan.
Yes, he is called Achan. For Otani's last basketball game, Risa made him lemons pickled in blank.
They were supposed to be lemons pickled in honey, but she made them pickled cherry lemons, cooking sherry.
You got it.
Yeah.
That's correct.
That's so funny. Sorry, no, keep going. I was just gonna go on about that scene.
No. Risa called the dog, pictured at this is a visual one, but you know the dog because there was only one important dog. So Risa called the dog a blank dog.
I don't remember this part. She called him a
Bad dog.
no, like a bear, I think.
It was Yakuza dog.
Yakuza dog. That's right.
This is the last level. There's eight more questions. They are true false statements. Are you ready?
Goodness. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Risa, Nobu, and Chiharu all went to the same middle school.
This is supposed to be easy.
Well, it's advanced level, so is this supposed to be easy?
They all went to the same high school. False.
It is false.
Yeah, Chiharu went to a different school.
It says Risa and Chiharu went, but Risa only met Nobu on the first day of high school.
Oh, I got that wrong. They're such good friends. You would think they would have been friends forever.
It didn't say that you had to explain why. Just you have a 50-50
Just take the
chance
win.
of getting it.
Right?
Risa and Otani were in the same class for all 3 years of high school. And in year 1, this was class 2. And in year 2, this was class 4. Oh, boy.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to say false.
That is true. It is false. They were in class 3 in their second year.
Right.
Both Nobu and Nakao have blood type B. Did they even write this anywhere?
It's in the profile, I think, on the end of volume 4, I think. False.
No, it says true for that one.
What? Bring me volume 4. No, I'm kidding.
Haruka moved away in 4th grade.
True.
False.
What?
Moved away in 5th grade.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
According to the Love Fortune Machine, Risa and Haruka are 38% compatible.
False. They didn't do this machine.
True.
What? Give me the volumes. I'm going to start reading them over again.
Am I looking at the wrong place? No.
Because I didn't think Risa and Haruka, they didn't do it. Anyway, I believe you.
They did do it. All right.
Okay.
You're like, this is wrong. Mayu Kanzaki goes to Sakura Girls' School.
Does she go to a girls' school? True?
True.
Yeah.
Otani was supplanted by Yamamoto as the basketball team's idol.
Oh, those 3 girls that followed him around? True.
Yes. One of Umibozu's CDs is called Bozu.
True.
Bozo. But it is still true. You don't trust. You shouldn't trust me to read stuff. I could be lying to you right now. You don't know, but I'm not.
I believe you for sure.
Okay, well, I think that is the first not quite half of LoveCom, my friends. We will be back to discuss the second half of LoveCom. For now, we shall say goodbye. Thanks for listening to Shojo and Tell. Comments, questions, constructive criticism, concerns, need me to stop saying so many C's, or alternatively to tell me how much you love this very silly series. Email shoujoandtell@gmail.com or leave a comment on the episode's YouTube page. We're at Shojo and Tell on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Loyola, where/can the people find you and your work on the internet?
Yes, definitely direct you to my Twitter at Loyola Rankin. Don't really have a heavy media presence, so start there.
You're just like, I work in the real dimension. That's cool. Are you excited every time you see a new episode from us? If so, please consider leaving a rating on Apple Podcasts. This will help the show reach more hearts, or at least ears. Thanks again for listening. As mentioned, we'll be back for next time for the second half of LoveCom. There are still 9 more volumes, somehow. How many more hijinks can there be? We'll find out next time. Until then, bye.
See you soon.
And remember, never stop flaunting your inner boobies.